Hello, everyone. My name is Tooways Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show should be available on podcast by tomorrow morning. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. If you're joining us live, drop a 1 in the comments and drop a 2 in the comments if you're watching the recording. There might also be a prize given at the end, so don't miss out on that. You'll only know what the prize is if you watch until the end. My guest for this week is Ferreira-Massyn, professional accountant, head of accounting and outsourced services at Mazars Gqeberha. He's also a national board member of SAIPA, the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, and chairperson of the SAIPA Southern region. Ian, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Wei, and I really appreciate you inviting me to your live LinkedIn session.
Let's jump straight into questions. Tell us your story. Where do you come from? And even outside of work, who is Ian Ferreira-Massyn? Give us that backstory.
Okay, sure. So firstly, I grew up in a very small town called Alexandria. It's just close before Port Alfred. I matriculated in 2005 in Alexandria, and then in 2006 I moved to Port Elizabeth to study BCom in accounting at NMMU. Since then, I think it was Feb 2010 that I joined Mazars. It's an international accounting and audit firm. I did my articles there, and since then I've just been promoted through the ranks to my current position that I hold there. And I am a series freak in my spare time. I love to watch series, especially the type like Suits, or any accounting related series as well. Then I am a proud dog owner, which I told you about previously. 8 dogs. You heard them in the background a bit earlier. and a proud husband. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay. And so dog owner, outside of work, you spend your weekends with your dogs mostly, or what else do you do?
So basically, one of my passions actually since university is ballroom and Latin American dancing. I kind of stopped that for a while, but what I enjoy most is just having rides with friends and taking walks with the dogs. And yes, that's basically the chilled, relaxed life. It's not the student life where, when you're the student, you go out and you party a lot. And so kind of got that out of my system, and I'm the more relaxed type guy that I am today.
I'm going to be honest. Before I started working at my current job in 2018, I knew almost nothing about the SAIPA designation. I think we had the chairperson on last year, and I mentioned the same thing to her. I think the marketing has improved quite a bit since. For those who are studying and maybe don't know much about SAIPA and its opportunities, tell us a little bit about the designation.
You know what? I think, first of all, I would also like to share that when I started as a SAIPA member, I also didn't know much about SAIPA. I did my cycle articles at Mazars, which is in the auditing field. And once I got my articles, I wrote the SAIPA professional evaluation because one of my friends who's now in the UK motivated me and said to me, no, you have to go and write the SAIPA exam. I thought, okay, let me give this a try. I didn't really know much about who SAIPA was. And since I qualified as a professional accountant SA, to be honest with you, there's nothing else I'd rather be. I was invited they sent out a general communique for an annual general meeting or members meeting in Port Elizabeth. And I thought to myself, you know what, let me go and attend this and just find out more about SAIPA, who they are, etc. And since joining that AMM, that's how I got involved with SAIPA. And basically, I became chairperson of the Southern region and then eventually a board member as well at SAIPA. And I must say, what makes me really proud about SAIPA, and I think what really differentiates SAIPA globally, not just nationally, is the fact that we really are an accountancy regulatory body that is future ready. We invest a lot of time in understanding how the future will impact the accountancy profession. We already know we're living in the fourth industrial revolution, But now we are already on the cusp of fourth industrial revolution is almost like a thing of the past. And we have to now look at artificial intelligence and how machine learning is going to change the role that the accountant has to play out there. We're no longer bookkeepers, bean counters, processing. We have to be able to rely on reports, that generates from machines and, from systems. And we have to adapt to become an advisor. So no longer a bean counter, but moving to an advisor. And I think, what makes a professional accountant SA special in that sense is that we are future ready. We adapt our skill set to be able to be advisors for especially SME accounting practices, SME businesses.
So for the students out there, I think that last sentence summed it up. Advisors for SMEs. That's a great way to put it.
100%. And I should say trusted advisors. Sorry, I should say trusted advisors as well.
Okay. If anybody's got any questions for Ian, please add them to the comment section. We'll answer all of them towards the end. I noticed also that you're also a member of SAIPA with an AGA designation and a member of the Institute of Directors. What made you decide to be a member of both accounting bodies? Some people can be very, very tribal. Like if you are part of one, then you're not part of the other, then the other people are evil and vice versa. So talk us through that.
Yes. So look, my first designation that I got was the Professional Accountant SA designation. And then our firm offers SAIPA articles at Mazars. So to be an evaluator and assessor for SAIPA trainees, you need to have needed to have a SAIPA related designation. So my firm asked, can I also be the AGA SA designation so that I can be the assessor for trainees as well? So before my current role as head of accounting and outsourced services, that was one of my main roles as audit managers, is to review trainees' work and helping them get through their articles and make sure they get all the competencies they needed. So that is how the AGA SA designation came on board. And by virtue of the fact of being a SAIPA board member, we also belong to the IODSA. We get registered with the Institute of Directors of Southern Africa. That's just to enhance ethics and make sure that we stay up to date and abreast with all the things that's happening in the corporate world and how it can impact an institution like SAIPA that's also a non-profit.
Okay, that gives us a good understanding. I see you mentioned you grew up in Alexandria, so you've basically, and you're working in, you spent most of or the whole of your career in the Eastern Cape. For a lot of the young professionals that come from the Eastern Cape, most of them are like, let's go to Cape Town, let's go to Johannesburg. What opportunities are available in the province for those who are thinking of staying?
Yeah, I think, I think I like to call Johannesburg the Big Apple of South Africa, because that's almost the direction everybody wants to head to or go to. But firstly, I want to motivate people, if they are in Port Elizabeth, there's nothing wrong, for example, or in the Eastern Cape, there's nothing wrong with staying in the Eastern Cape. And if they do consider a career move to another city like Joburg and Cape Town, they also have to take into account the living costs, which is quite a lot more than what you will find in the Eastern Cape when they compare salary packages, and compare apples with apples. But otherwise, in the Eastern Cape itself, there's a lot of accounting firms, and also if you go onto the SAIPA website, they list all the accredited training centers that not just in the Eastern Cape but in South Africa as a whole, with contact details so that they can get into, especially students of today who wants to become a professional accountant SA and need to go through an ATC, they can go on the website and they can go and find all the places where there's an opportunity as well to do their articles. There's always a classifieds section on the website as well that they can have a look at. And in the Eastern Cape, I think what's also quite important is that we shouldn't only be focusing on, once you are a professional accountant SA, that you need to be in an accounting firm. You have professional accountants in public practice. You've got professional accountants in working in SME firms or even large listed entities. You have professional accountants SA that are lecturers, and there's quite a lot of tertiary institutions as well who lecture in accounting. So there's quite a wide variety of job opportunities that's not only focused in an accounting field, but the doors are wide open if you are a professional accountant.
Opportunities are there, definitely.
Yes.
I see that you also an advisory board member for the Business and Economics faculty at Nelson Mandela University. What does that entail?
So basically, they started a new program, which is internal. It's a postgraduate in internal auditing a few years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. Postgraduate in internal auditing, and this is an internationally accredited qualification as well. And the subject advisory board comprised of people in the accounting and auditing profession that basically sits around a table and advise the lecturers and the faculty management on what is happening in the profession and what they should look into with regards to what they need to offer as part of the modules that they roll out. Okay. So basically to ensure that, the strategic advice is given so that students are ready when they enter the workplace, and the modules and the work that's offered are relevant to the workplace as well.
I'm learning quite a bit on this call because I wasn't aware that SAIPA members were that involved on the audit side as well. But just from what you were saying, I'm like, okay, that there's an opportunity there as well from an audit perspective.
Yes, yeah, especially in on the internal auditing side, and this is the specific module where I'm involved at. But also the other reason that I am also part of this is because I'm working in an audit environment, working at Mazars, and before my current role, I was an audit manager, so have built up quite a lot of experience in audits there.
So this is one question that I'd like to ask all my guests. But maybe before I ask it again, if anybody's got any questions, you might be answering all the questions. So there's no questions so far. So if there's any questions for Ian, to add into the comment section now. But what is one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
One piece of advice that I would give my younger self, probably to listen to my parents. To be honest with you, they say to me, when you go to university, you have to study hard. And I'll be honest with you, back then, being a student, I was a bit more of a party animal, for a lack of a better phrase, and it took 5 years to complete my degree, but it's not something that I regret, because at the end of the day, I took every opportunity that I have. And and the other piece of advice that I can give is the opportunities that we look for, we have to create ourselves. There's there's sometimes this perception that things will be handed to you on a silver platter, and that is not the case. When I was back at university, I had to work 4 different jobs just to put myself through university, and we have to work hard to where we want to get, and once we get there, it would all be worth it at the end.
That's a great advice to end off. But any last words from you, or anything we didn't discuss that you would like the audience to know?
I would actually like to find out if the audience have any questions for me.
Normally there's a little bit of a lag sometimes with questions, but we can check if there's anything that comes through. But you mentioned something at the beginning before about a prize. Talk to us about that before we pick someone, or potentially pick someone.
So it's going to be a SAIPA branded hamper, and you can find out the address, and maybe you can share the address of the winner with me, and then I'll arrange for it to be couriered. But the SAIPA branded hamper will include like a SAIPA pin that you can wear. It's a SAIPA branded mug, SAIPA branded stationery, SAIPA branded diary, etc. So it's just a nice box made up of SAIPA branded goodies that we can definitely share with one lucky winner.
Amazing. I know there's quite a lot of people that watch, that don't watch live, that watch the recording. So I'm going to give them an opportunity also to comment. And if they do comment, then we'll do a selection tomorrow, and I'll send you the details and of the winner. Sure. But again, it doesn't look like there's any questions. So is there anything else that you want to end off with?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's end off with, but something else that I also would like to share, and it also ties in back with your previous question, when you ask, with the accountancy profession, don't be too focused only on the technical skill set, but also rely on your strengths in your pervasive skill set to enhance that, emotional intelligence. And there's this new thing now, cultural intelligence. That's something that I'm also very passionate about. That is something that is really relevant in the profession that we are living in today, because as accountants, we deal with clients and we deal with people and we deal with colleagues, and we need that pervasive skill set, which is often not taught at university. So use every opportunity outside of university, or once you start working in your career, to upskill yourself in all the pervasive skill sets.
I think that's a great way to end up. Don't just use your technical knowledge, use your experience and your other skills as well. Brilliant. The show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and you feel it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell so that you get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. Ian, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat. Goodbye.